Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Al Hikmat TV 24/7 online. Today we are very fortunate to have with us in Al Hikmat studio Naomie Labiti. Did I get that correct?
Very correct.
Good. And Naomie is a very special person and we're glad to have her with us, and I'm sure you will learn a lot from Naomie and her experience. She is a U.S. government employee and is an expert in planning and development. She has her master's in global affairs, and we will be talking to her about global affairs and what attracted her to global affairs, etc. But presently she is heavily involved as the program coordinator for Census 2020 in Broward County. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy
really
to be here.
It is really nice to have you. And talking about census, before we get into your actual involvement and your work and whatever into Census 2020, tell us what attracted you or what motivated you to get a degree in global affairs, because we're on global issues.
Yes.
Yes, on Al Hikmat TV.
Well, thing is, the international world comes to you because we're so globalized as the world. So issues come to you directly all the time. I remember in 2010 when the earthquake happened in my home country, Haiti, I saw the world rush into Haiti.
Yeah, that was 2010, huh?
In 2010. It's almost 10 years, and still Haiti's still struggling to position itself in the right place, and I saw that the world came to our aid then, and then there were many different factors contributing to Haiti's, setback. And I wanted to see if I myself could learn how to make this country better and help other countries as well. So I started by, in undergrad, I studied international relations, and then in grad school studied global affairs here in Miami at FIU, Florida International University. They have a very good program in global affairs, and it was just a fascinating place to be because we are so interconnected.
Of course.
Yes.
And, we got to think global.
Yeah, we think global.
We live local, but we think global.
Yes.
And I love that. I really love that. That's why we have this show called Global Issues on Al Hikmat TV.
Yes.
And, our viewers are worldwide, and Muslims, non-Muslims, different faiths, etc. So I'm sure our discussion today and what you have to share on Census 2020 will benefit everyone. So that attracted you to getting involved in global affairs, and I think that's very nice. It shows your broad-mindedness and your open-mindedness, having that open mind.
It's important. And I think a show like this is supremely critical because we are at a trespass where people are wanting to be more inward, but we need to see where we have interconnected conversations about something's happening, say Trinidad or in wherever, in France,
Japan, in China.
Like right now, as we speak, we can see in Chile, in France, in Ecuador, in Yemen, many people are rising at the same time. So there's a train happening where people are like together, they're rising together. Maybe we can learn and have these dialogues that are so important so that we can do better.
And actually with social media, with the media at large, everything is sort of local.
Yeah.
Something just happens somewhere immediately. While it's happening, we are aware of it.
Sure.
So it is so important to understand global affairs. And that's why I love to travel. I really love to travel.
You travel all the time. I see
love
that.
To travel.
That's good.
I get bored as soon as I spend a few days here in South Florida. I'm ready to go again.
What a privilege.
Because you learn so much. You learn so much. I can just imagine how much you benefited from studying global affairs. So what are some of the areas in your global affairs studies that you were supposed to get that education and be educated in?
Right.
Specifically, basically.
Well, it's such an eclectic program. So You are trained in almost everything that exists in the world.
Like, for example?
For example,
because somebody might be looking at this show somewhere.
Yeah, and be
they might
inspired.
Be interested.
Yeah.
A lot of people nowadays, it's all about computer,
Mm-hmm.
IT, doctor, lawyer, you know what I mean, business. But you hardly hear people getting a master's and a degree in global affairs. And that led you to be a U.S. government employee.
Right.
And now you are the program director for Census.
Coordinator.
Program coordinator.
Yes.
For Census 2020, which is interesting.
Yes.
It is very interesting.
It is an interesting work.
It's a great experience.
It is. And you should not be you should always let yourself be inspired by many different directions. You don't have to seek the traditional professions. And with global affairs, I was able to study terrorism and what's behind that, the motivating factors that may lead somebody to be radicalized, and how to actually just try to tame it, even though terrorism is a very complex issue. We studied immigration, global immigrations, patterns, and what's behind that, refugee crises. We studied diplomacy because, of course, you have to always find ways to
so
communicate.
People like you, they normally hire on the president's team, right? To be an advisor and analysis.
Well,
because listen, you're talking immigration, you're talking terrorism, you're talking all these things.
Global things,
so
yes.
these are the kind of people who are normally analysts.
Yes,
and you can analyze situations.
That's exactly
globally.
Right. You can be an analyst for many different things. Yes, you can join a think tank. You can work for the government. You can work for any global body organizations. For example, the United Nations or UNHCR or the OAS in our Latin America. You can work in different fields.
I don't normally come across people who study global affairs, and I mean a lot of people think that they know global affairs because they talk what they see on the news, but not everything on the news are true. As President Trump says, a lot of fake news, right? And there are a lot of fake news. Let's be very honest.
And that's
the news is very biased.
That's very true, and that's one key thing that we must, when we speak of the census here in America, there's a lot of disinformation about the census that we must be very careful about. What we read in the news, we must verify, make sure it's from a credible source, because here in America, we are a country of diversity.
Yes.
And we have many immigrants, and they are fearful to participate in this very important endeavor because of what they hear. People can discriminate against them, and they can get sent back. But census is nothing like that. Your information is protected and not shared with any other agency.
So why do people, at the end of the day, why are people really scared to share their information with census?
Well, let's start at the very beginning. What is the census?
Yeah.
The census is really a head count of everybody that lives in the United States. Of course, other countries carry out census as well, but here specifically, we do so every 10 years.
And maybe we need to let our viewers worldwide know that we're talking about a census for the United States of America. 2020 will be on April 1st.
April 1st coming up.
What do we mean by April 1st? That's the last day. It's the day to do the registration.
Well,
what goes on here? What is April 1st going
April
to be?
1st
I know
is
April 1st is All Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, yeah.
April
right.
Fool's Day.
But it's also Census Day.
Okay.
So
in
America, April 1st is Census Day.
Is it the last day for everybody?
It is not. But I don't want to say that.
It is the first day.
Let's say what's different about the census this time around is that you can do it online. You can do it by mail and by phone, but notably you can do it online primarily. So before you actually go online, you will receive a postcard telling you can go do it online, and this you can start doing it by March. March 2020. So you have March until April 1st to do it. And if you do not carry it out on April 1st, you will get reminders and reminders until somebody comes and knock on your door. And some people might not want that, so they just complete it online.
So April 1st is the day
Census Day.
that the information is supposed to be in.
Yes.
Census info should be in by then.
Yes.
If not, then they will come and ask you for it.
You will be reminded, and if you do not do it, somebody knocks on your door.
Excellent.
A census taker.
How did you become the program
coordinator?
coordinator?
Well,
I know we're going to jump around here
right.
because our viewers out there probably interested. What are you? Why are you? How are you involved in this?
Yes.
These kind of questions will be passing through minds of our viewers.
Well, interestingly, in undergrad, international relations, I took a class in population, and this is global population, studying all kinds of patterns. And one of the topics was the census, how the census is carried out in different countries.
So maybe I would like to do a show with you, global issues on population.
Oh, it's such a fascinating
Because of the fact
thing.
that there are a lot of people who do not believe that we should have the population growing. And there are people, you see what I'm looking at?
Yes, you
and
are.
there are some people who believe that the growth of the
expanding.
population is the success of the world.
Yes.
Like countries that got great populations like China and India, they're doing so fascinating now. Their
Right.
productivity.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that. I don't want to jump from census. We got a lot to talk
Yes.
about. But because you're into global issues, it is really interesting.
It's never ending. We can talk
I
about
really
so
want
many
to talk
things.
to you about population on another talk show.
Okay.
I think our viewers worldwide will enjoy that.
It should be interesting. I'd love to participate.
Right, so that is what motivated you, and you were saying
Yes,
to be the
so
program coordinator.
because the census is an important democratic endeavor, exercise, because what it does is it gives a government or your leaders a perspective of what the society, what is the society, who are they, and what do they need. So this is why we carry out a decennial census every 10 years. Since 1790, this country, the United States, has been carrying out the census. So this time around, the census is very important because we need this information to allocate a multitude of benefits, over $675 billion in funding
$675
per year
billion.
that the states receive in programs. So we're talking about a lot of money,
And that
a lot
money
of
goes to
programs.
what?
It goes into SNAP benefits, financial aid, road construction, schools, hospitals, nursing homes, a diversity
So what we're
of
saying, if the government does not know the population, their requirements, their diversity, what they may need, where and when, they will not be able to
plan.
allocate this money
Yeah.
to that city or that county.
Yes. So our communities lose a lot of money by not participating. And it's not by saying a group of people participate, everyone must participate. Because if I do not count, if you do not count, we lose $1,475 per person. So you can imagine each body, each person counts for the census.
Seeing that you're the global affairs diplomat
No.
degree,
Yes.
do you think other countries operate like that?
Well,
Or do they just take, I mean some of the third world countries, do you think they only collect census info just for information, or do they allocate a budget for the cities and the town?
well,
That's interesting.
It is well, the census has been, it's a very old practice. Even in biblical times, even in back in the days, we have census been done. It's carried out in many different countries in different manners, but I can say for the third world, coming from a third world country, for example, Haiti, it does carry out a census, but it does not have the funding to really do it well.
So generally, the census is supposed to be able to have funds by the government allocated to the towns and the cities.
To
but
help
it's not
them.
that all the countries have the budget.
Yes, exactly. So, and even here, we struggle to get budgets for different areas. So we have to fight to get the government to give us the funding to make sure that we do proceed.
Okay. So the funding is there, but now the struggle goes on, where is it going
Right.
to be distributed to?
Now, this particular country, though, runs on census data. And the data, of course, it not only does it serve to receive money for communities. As I said, over $675 billion per year, but also data for example, for developers, real estate developers, to construct houses where population is growing, speaking of population, to make sure that we have the infrastructure necessary to carry out whatever it needs for the next 10 years. But also, it is very, it's about power as well. Each census, depending on the population, you can get a representation in Congress as well. So it is a supremely important exercise that we carry out here in the United States, because the way the United States is constructed is it's by representation. You have governance by representation, so equal representation for
so I suppose that population will make a great impact in making decisions as to representatives and constitution.
For example,
and whose area.
Florida gained 2 seats in Congress last census because the population grew. It needed more representation back in Congress. So you can imagine it carries very heavy consequences in elections, in redistricting, in if we're speaking of congressional districts, it can make it larger or smaller depending on...
So politically, socially, economically, in all different ways, the census benefits the people.
The people.
And the people benefit by giving their information.
Yes.
So people should not be scared to give their information.
Now that's another subject. Then you ask, why are people hesitant on doing it? First of all, this time it will be online. And we hear so much about hacking, about people pirating information here and there. So that is it is understandable that people would have fears about, putting their information.
Why would they be afraid?
Well,
nowadays, everybody's information is out there.
Yes.
Everybody's information, your name,
but
your
some are quite reticent about providing that, just that way easily. But I must say that the Census Bureau itself takes very careful plans to make sure that your information is encrypted and is confidential, completely confidential. Once you submit it, your information is taken offline so that hackers cannot have access to it. Okay. And not only is that, but the other aspect, not removing from the online portion, is just some people fear that when they give out their information like that, governments can make decisions about them. For example, if they receive benefits, like let's say you receive food benefits, and by giving more information about yourself, the government might say, well, you don't need to receive that anymore.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. Why people may not want the government to know
their affairs. Yes, exactly.
Oh.
But that information is not shared with any government agency. That information remains sealed for 72 years. So in that time, that information is used only for statistics reasons.
By the time the information gets out, the person is practically gone.
Gone. Yes. But and we still use these the ones that are now becoming publicly available are from the early 1900s, which is fascinating too.
That's statistics. That's history.
History. It becomes history then. So your information cannot be used against you in whatever way.
What about because I know we want to get to the point of how do people go about doing it? How is it done easier? Because a lot of people, language-wise, time-wise, being realistic in filling out the forms and the information, etc. People nowadays don't even remember to renew their driver's license.
Right.
Files for their passport sometimes.
Yes.
So it will take some work to get people active. But what about the immigrants? A person who lives in the United States of America and is not a resident
or a
citizen.
What happens?
What happens? Is it required for that person to give their information also?
Every living...
I know the next question will be, why would the person be living if the person does not have a resident card?
Well, it happens.
Right. So we know
I mean, this is the world. We're speaking of
this
global...
is America.
And yes, because this is well, I do not want to get involved, but what I want to say is that people, we've always moved all around the world since the dawn of time. But just to answer your question, the census, the U.S. Constitution mandates that we carry out this exercise, this census, for every living, breathing person in the United States. Whether you are a U.S. citizen, whether you are a green card holder, whether you are documented or undocumented, you can be here, let's say, use the word illegally in air quote, whether you have documents or whether you do not. You must be counted, because
as long as you're living in the
as
United
long as
States.
you're living in the United States.
That will definitely not mean a visitor.
Not a tourist or a visitor who's here just for a
someone
short.
who has passed visitor and tourist time.
Yes.
I'm just trying to be realistic.
Right.
They have passed the time of being a
visitor.
and a visitor.
Right.
So
you must be counted. And these are we understand the fears, because you don't feel comfortable, giving yourself away like that.
So you're saying that ICE will not have access
Homeland Security, ICE,
to the information
and
that a
no
person
other agency will.
is
But
illegal.
what I must say is that the reason why we must count all persons is that even as an undocumented person, you do receive benefits from living here. So we must make sure, even if your children go to school, we must make sure that we know that they are here, because we must allocate funding for the programs that you will in turn benefit from. So regardless of your immigration status, you must be counted.
Because you're using the roads.
You're using everything.
Using the hospitals,
exactly.
the schools,
resources.
all
But
the
you are
parks.
not, it's not you with your name that's being looked at. It's you as an individual person living. So, and your information will not be shared with any other agency. But it's still very important for you to submit your forms. And as you were saying, you're saying that now our attention span is very short. We don't have time to even do the required license.
And your passport,
Yeah,
when you're ready to
renew.
travel, you're like,
Yes, and this is why we do these conversations. We go out into the community and we tell people this is important. And it's not going to be very long. You have options. You can go online, you can go on your phone, you can do it by mail.
So just Google.
Just
Census 2020.
Actually, when the time comes, you will just go online and do it.
Anytime after March.
March to April 1st, and then
2020.
You still have some time to still do it. I believe the cutoff time when you can self-respond is July 31st.
Okay, but that's the extreme.
That's extreme.
Everything is expected to be by
done. April
1st.
1st, everybody should go online here if you live
I
in
just
the
made a
United
joke
States.
with April 1st because I just didn't want people to think that the U.S. government is fooling everybody on All Fool's Day.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, I just love my humor, so we were just making a humor out of it. I wonder why they use April Fool's Day.
I wonder too. I don't know.
Anyhow, I suppose it had nothing to do with that.
But
Definitely has not. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So what else would you like to say? Do you know, when you came on the show before we started, you said, are we going to talk for 40 minutes? We have already gone 25 minutes.
Oh my.
Time just goes, right?
Time flies.
Really
and it's such
interesting.
easy to talk to you. I love it.
Thank you. Well, that's what the show is all about, to make the conversation, to expand, to communicate, to modulate. And, I try to think how the viewers are thinking out there. So that's why I cut in every now and then while you're talking so they could, as it passes through their mind and they got a question, I ask you. So
Yes.
you
receive
yes.
you receive the it's like telepathy.
Yes.
You receive the questions from the viewer.
how they may be thinking. So we get that going.
Good.
So we got to go on a short commercial break. But is there anything you'd like to say for a couple of seconds before we...
Just that if you live in the United States, please fill out your census form.
ASAP.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Naomie. It has been a pleasure to have you with
Thank
us
you,
on the
Shaikh.
show. We're going to go on this short break. And for those of you who have just tuned in a little while ago, Naomie is a U.S. government employee. She's the program coordinator for Census 2020 in Broward County. And she's also an expert in planning and development. So stay tuned. We'll continue after the short break.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Al-Hikmah TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Global Issues on Al-Hikmah TV. Well, we have with us now in Al-Hikmah studio, Farah Lahiyu.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you in Al-Hikmah studio on this talk show of global issues. We were talking to Naomie before we went on a commercial break, and it is a pleasure to have you. And for viewers, just to let you know that Farah is the director and owner of Fella Management Group, and we'll be asking her more about Fella Management Group, which specialized in marketing, advertisement, the whole nine yards, communications, etc., with a great concentration to the Asian community.
Correct.
Because as we have spoken before the show, that you are originally from Haiti.
Correct.
Good.
Correct. Thank
So
you for
tell
having
us,
me.
it's a pleasure to have you, and it's nice that Naomie got you to come on the show with us. It's really interesting, and I'm sure that our viewers worldwide will definitely benefit from what you have to say.
I cannot say no to Naomie, so that's why.
Yes. No, Naomie is a nice person. So tell us a little bit about your business. What do you do in your business?
Well, Tiller Management Group started in 2002 in Haiti with the vision to promote Haitian artists on the international market, because we are more specialized on the arts. So when I moved here in the United States a couple years later, I realized that there were more opportunities, and also there was a need to better serve the Asian community in terms of communication, because I started my career as a TV host and television.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yes, in Haiti. So I was a very popular TV host in Haiti, and that's where I continue my path as a communication personality also.
Because it goes together.
Yes, correct.
I mean, magazines, communications,
television, radio,
all
that, yes.
So we're in the same field, you know. I've
Yes.
been into radio and television for many years.
Yes,
and I love this.
I have 22 years of experience in television, studying in my young age in Haiti. So going back to the expansion of the company here in the United States, and particularly in South Florida. So we continue to serve artists in different capacity, public relation, booking or management, but realize that small businesses, corporates, they needed to reach out to the Asian community. Government agencies as well need to reach out to the Asian community in a professional manner.
Yes.
So that's why we kind of revamped the company, and we serve a non-profit, government agencies, small business, corporate need to reach out to the Asian community, either for their services, for their product. So that's how we work in the Haitian community. We also connect the Haitian diaspora to Haiti. So it's a two-way.
Interesting. So I suppose that's what brought you on to Census 2020.
Absolutely.
That's how you got involved.
My communication background and being involved in the Haitian community, I saw that there's a lot of things that needs to be brought to the Asian community, to educate Asians.
Other communities at large.
Absolutely.
The message of
the minority communities in Bard County.
Yes, Census 2020, and why is it important, and how people should get involved. And so tell us a little bit from your perspective. Why do you think that people should get involved in the census?
Well, census is very important because that's how the government knows how many people we have in different cities, municipalities, statewide, and in the worldwide. So each person count, because that's how they're gonna decide the budget, where to put services, different services, schools, hospitals, the roads, the infrastructure. So that's how decisions are made.
So how could we get that message to the people who are afraid to give their information out?
It's very important for them to understand that the census is separate to other government agencies, and the system has set as is. So for people, it's about counting the people. It's not about your immigration status. It's not about where you're from. Well, actually, they have a question about where you're from that give you that give them a perspective of diversity. But it's about counting people, not if you work or not. If you have specific needs, there's the details that we don't find in the census form. That's one point. You have to understand counting, only that, not details. Counting, only that. The second aspect is the system also has set up in a way that no information is shared with any other agencies or for any purpose. And they have Title 13 and Title 44 that specifically said that.
So what are you saying, that ICE cannot call the Census Bureau and say, we need to find out how many undocumented immigrants are in such and such a state?
No.
That is
no.
illegal.
Because Title 13 and Title 44 specifically say it. First of all, the employees of the census, they are under oath that they cannot share information. Otherwise, you can pay $250,000 fine, yes,
wow.
or 5 years of prison. And so that shows how the system is set up in a way that to protect people's information.
That. A census
employee
is
under oath.
And it's under oath and cannot reveal information of a person to ICE or to IRS, because IRS is just like immigration. Mm-hmm. People probably might be scared to say how much is their income.
Yes,
we
understand that, but no, they cannot. So their information is private. As a matter of fact, they count the people, but they don't even know their name. It's not about, you're not gonna disclose your name. You're gonna disclose only how many people in the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is important. So to see a profile of the population, but not to see, a Mr. X, Mrs. X live in this house. No.
So what are the areas that people are normally scared of?
First of all, you
cause them to abstain from giving their information. What are some of those
especially
areas?
in this political era, and then where the president is talking badly about immigrants, and also that there's an ICE who's out there tracking undocumented immigrants. Definitely, we are living in a time of fear. And I have to tell you that I'm a TPS recipient myself. And for your viewers to know that the temporary protected status, based on the Trump administration, is ended for Haiti in July 22nd, 2019, the past July. So for TPS recipient, they cannot deport us because of temporary injunction from the court of California. Because there's a case Ramos against Nielsen, so they have sued the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, because based on discrimination against Haiti. That's why the government decided to end a TPS. So, but as a TPS recipient, I'm gonna make sure that I'm counted in 2020, because we are fighting against the government for decision against some countries who are under the temporary protected status, or DACA, deferred action for child child
So what are you saying, especially in nowadays?
Yes.
Nowadays, and this 2020 census, people gotta be very, 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 understanding towards this issue of immigration because of all the fears and all the complications and the immigration laws and
It is
the
important.
politics.
Absolutely. It is important for people to be aware of what's going on, but census is different. It's completely different from what's going on in terms of immigration. And then I have also to mention that the question about your citizenship status, it's not under the question. It's not in the questionnaire.
So nobody has to answer whether they're a citizen or not.
No, they're not gonna see this question.
So there is no question about legal status,
No.
immigration status.
No. And
But I think the Census Bureau got a lot of work with all the political pressure going on in the United States of America on immigration. Even if it's fake, it's fear, but it's there in the media. So the Census Bureau got to do a lot of marketing to take this fear away from the minds of people.
Absolutely, and that's why leaders like you in the community is important, and that's why for us it's a civic duty. For me, it's a civic duty to be out there to talk to the people, because some people they're not informed, or they don't get the proper information. So there's a lot of information out there, and we need to make sure that this type of information, truth information, is spread it out within our minority communities, particularly in Broward County, and even your viewers outside of United States, because they have their family living.
Families and relatives. Listen,
absolutely, they have to confront them.
The world is tied into the United States of America.
Absolutely.
Families, relatives. So what areas are you specifically involved in the Census 2020?
Well, I'm part of many subcommittees here in Broward County. I'm also part of the Haitian Complete Committee, because for me, like I said, it's a civic duty. It's important to communicate to people. I receive the information, I have the information I get training from the census. So it is a matter of community advancement also. Because we want the people our community to be represented.
Right.
We want the American system, American society to know this particular immigrant groups, they are here, they have been counted, and they need resources, they need funding, they need programs, they need to be integrated to the American system. So it's about advancement, it's about pushing the American dream.
So you're working heavily with the Broward County.
Heavily with the Broward County, yes.
The cities. So how are you going about getting this message to the different communities?
By doing what I'm doing now, communicate, sharing the message into media, social media, and make sure that the people also participate in different way, because people resident different, they are from different country of origin, different cultural background. They can also participate to different subcommittee in their specific city.
Yes,
and
yes.
That's one thing that I've been doing also. Reach out to different Haitian personalities and asking them to join the census in their city, where they can be part of this. They can share their perspective, share the perspective of the Haitian community, and also help the government to understand this is how to reach out to that specific community. It's important for the government. We also have to teach the government how to do things right.
Yes,
so for us to receive the message.
Yes, because if you don't let the government know what are the needs and how to go about doing things, they will know. They sit up there, they more or less go through things in a theory point of view, not in a realistic, practical point of view.
Absolutely.
Many politicians, you only see them at the time of election, before election. After election, you don't really see them.
And that's also a point that I like to bring to different community meetings that I attend, and I open the conversation about the census. I like to tell them, listen, we talk a lot about elections. We pushing people to go to elections, but census is as important, if not even more important than election, because what happened? You support our community, let's say our community support a candidate, and then they make sure that the people go and vote. That's nice. We elect that person. But when that commissioner, supposedly it's a commissioner, when that commissioner is in office now, and we say, okay, we put you in office, but this is the needs of our community. This is what we want you to accomplish. Now, this commissioner, the first thing they're gonna do, or she gonna do, is to turn over to the city manager. The city manager, that's how where's the budget? Do we have the resources? And the city manager gonna refer to the data. And which data? The census data.
Of course.
And if we are not counted, if community leaders are not involved in the census and make sure our people are counted, what's going to happen the time to make decision in terms of bringing resources, schools, a free breakfast to our kids, or any other resources program, they're not going to see the numbers.
They won't have the numbers to do the maths. Absolutely. And they'll be working on a different different figure. And then, I mean, listen.
And we blame the politician, but at the end of the day, we're missing something, is to count the people.
Whether it be the president or the city commissioner or whatever.
Or the governor.
They all need this census. And that's why I think people out there need to understand how important the census is. Because, I mean, if a man gets into politics and in a position and does not know his people or the people, what is the purpose? What policy are you going to make? And whom are you going to serve if you don't know who is out there?
Absolutely.
And how many people are out there, and what are the needs of the people? Because that makes your country great, when you serve the people in the country.
Absolutely.
So, well, time has been going. You know, we have already spoken for approximately, I would say, about 13 minutes already.
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
We got a minute.
It's a great conversation.
Yes, thank you very much. We got a minute or two. So I'll give you the choice. You're the guest, you're a special guest, you are the expert in marketing, communication. Really nice to know. I mean, you have been that TV host in Haiti. We need to do some work together, man. We need to get some communication and marketing going together. But what would you like to tell our viewers worldwide? We've got viewers worldwide about whatever in your field of getting the message out to people on the importance of Census 2020. You got a couple of seconds.
Thank you. My first message would be to the community leaders. It is important for them, the same way they are involved in time of election, the same way they're doing a lot of our community outreach to push their people to go out and vote. We need the same type of leadership and dynamic and involvement in the time of the census. And it started now, even the census in 2020, but we need them to get out and to spread out the message, the right messages, which is the census is privacy, nothing to see with ICE, with IRS, with DHS. So it's all about counting the people, and we will have to make sure that our people are counted, especially in minority community, in community of immigrants, where we know that there are many underdocumented. And they have to understand that even someone is visiting you on the visa, the tourist visa, and that person is living under your roof on the time of the census, April 1st, 2020, so they need to count that person, even that person visiting you. So it's important for the community leaders to be involved as you are involved in time of politics, of elections, I mean. So be involved in time of elections. And for the people, please remember, that is about our future, it's about the future of our kids. Don't be afraid, because there are a law that protect our information private, and what we need is to guarantee that we are counted and we are represented, so we can make sure that our integration to American society is secured, and we also can advance our community agenda.
Beautiful. Listen, I enjoy that. And that's very important, that politicians should also spread the message of the census and not only be known around election time.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't, it doesn't benefit them.
No.
And you know, I mean, this may not be, but it may not be politically right, but this is what it is about census. If you're undocumented, you should not be afraid. You gotta give your information. And if your money is undocumented, you still gotta give your information. No IRS is coming to you. No ICE is coming to you. No need to hide. This is for the benefit of the people at large. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Farah. I mean, it's always a pleasure talking to you. We spoke to Naomie before. It's a pleasure to have had you all on this show, Global Issues, which is viewed by people worldwide, and I'm sure people will benefit from this. People in other countries who do not give their information for census, they would have benefited a lot from what you all had to say today on this show. So it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much again. We will continue our conversation in some other topic, but our viewers, I'm sure they benefited. And thank you also for viewing Global Issues on Al Hikmat TV 24/7 online. So always stay tuned to Al Hikmat TV 24/7 online. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.